take this opportunity to provide you with important updates on several key matters. Vehicle tax. The deadline to pay vehicle tax for 2025 was Friday, February 28, 2025. I want to thank all vehicle owners who have already made their payments on time and fulfilled their obligations. For those who have not yet paid, I strongly encourage you to settle your vehicle tax as soon as possible to avoid penalties. As of Friday, February 28, 2025, a total of 14,310 vehicle owners have completed their payments, resulting in a total collection of 4.7 million guilders. This amount is in line with last year's collection at the end of February. To ensure compliance, vehicle tax controls will begin soon in collaboration with the Ministry of Justice. I urge all vehicle owners to pay promptly to avoid any issues once these controls are implemented. To make payments easier and more convenient, we have introduced a new online payment option. In addition to credit card payments, you can now pay via Send-To, allowing seamless transactions through WIB and Orco accounts. Having personally used Send-To, I can confirm that the process is fast and efficient. I was able to complete my payment and receive my receipt within 5 minutes. I encourage everyone who has not yet paid their vehicle tax to do so at the receiver's office or via the online payment methods as soon as possible. Let's all do our part to remain compliant and ensure a smooth process for everyone. Now on to some hot button items. SCDF subsidy. With regard to the St. Martin Carnival Development Foundation, a subsidy was requested and granted to support the organization of Carnival 2025. The Council of Ministers approved the subsidy, which was granted in line with the subsidy provided to SCDF in April 2024 via the marketing budget. As such, the SCDF subsidy was currently booked under the marketing post in line with the manner in which it was provided last year to SCDF. The subsidy was paid out based on the available budget in 2024 for marketing, which approximates to 4 million guilders annually. However, to ensure proper budget allocation, the Council of Ministers has resolved to rectify this matter in the 2025 budget by reclassifying the subsidy amount paid out under the marketing post to the appropriate subsidy line item through a budget amendment. This adjustment will ensure that the allocation is aligned with budgetary principles and properly reflected in the 2025 amended budget. Carnival remains a key cultural event that has been part of St. Martin's heritage for over 50 years, drawing both local and international participation and visitors. This annual celebration plays a significant role in cultural expression, economic stimulation, and tourism promotion, making its successful execution a priority for government. Our next hot button item, TALEM. From a financial perspective, I would like to provide an update regarding TALEM. The government has included a guarantee of 5 million guilders on behalf of TALEM in the 2025 budget, which was unanimously approved by Parliament. While this 5 million guilder guarantee will become available once the 2025 budget is enacted, our proposal is to provide TALEM with this support in stages rather than disbursing the full amount at once. It is essential that we support our local government-owned entities while ensuring that there is proper oversight and financial accountability. By allocating the funds in phases, we can better monitor the company's financial progress, ensure efficient utilization of resources, and maintain fiscal responsibility. The government remains committed to supporting Telem's development while ensuring that public funds are managed effectively to promote long-term sustainability for our government-owned companies.
Clarity's sake, there is some misunderstanding concerning the senior citizen relief program for the invoices for GEBE. And I think just for clarity's sake, it's I think important for me to put some accent on some clarity for people to be able to apply for this relief. First of all, the applicant has to be above the 65 years. You have to have a valid ID. You have to submit a recent GEBE bill on your name. If you are applying as a spouse of the person on which the name is documented in the invoice, then you should have a proof of marriage. You have to, of course, fill in the application form by GEBE. And a discussion point that we are discussing on with GB is that sometimes you have an agreement with the rent for a house or apartment, while the GEBE bill stays on the name of the one renting out the place to you. And I'm in discussion now with GB to see if we can accommodate this group, for example, by presenting a lease or rent contract between the abonnee and the one that is the tenant of the house. This is something that has been in discussion. I said I'm going to make use of this press briefing just for people to know that we are working on it for this senior citizen relief by GEBE. Further, we are still busy working on, it's quite complex, the mission that we have to see how we're going to mitigate the high energy bills that is actually a big stress for our people of our community that this government is realizing. But until now, we are with still all stakeholders in negotiations. And of course, I would like this to be ready, preferable yesterday than today, but I have to follow the right path for us to have the right information to take the right decision.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
I did want to speak briefly on visits that have been ongoing. So last week I visited the Foreigner Detention Center, which is located in Simpson Bay next to the police station, to have a look at what the facility looks like. For this year, we have budget earmarked through a project from the Netherlands to make structural repairs to this building and bring it back up to standard for a foreigner detention. Years ago, under previous administrations, the decision was made to use it as a huis van bewaring, a house of detention. So as such, it needs to be streamlined a bit more to, again, fit the needs of foreigner detention. And again, we see the influx and our island remains a hub for other islands and for people trying to transit and for, when it comes to human smuggling, human trafficking. And I think we need to be aware of that from the immigration perspective and also be ready to respond to those and to house people in a place that is meant for immigrants and not for detainees, because there is a difference between the two. Besides that, I also visited the MLC. One of the things that's high on my priority list is our youth. I'm very worried about our youth in this country, and we're looking to see from the justice perspective how we can do more on crime prevention. I know that this is also an issue for the Ministry of VSA. It's an issue for the Ministry of Education, but I feel that as the Minister of Justice, I also have an obligation when it comes to crime prevention and not just to wait until we have people that are in the justice system. So I've spoken before of collaboration with the Ministry of Education and also looking into other avenues to sponsor projects through the Crime Fund when it comes to crime prevention. And to that effect, I had a very productive meeting with the St. Martin Youth Brigade. So we are exploring different opportunities for us to collaborate. In addition, we keep talking about building a new prison up in Point Blanche, but what is also a priority is where we put our underage youth when they are sentenced, and how we can provide further rehabilitation for them, and really a place where we can provide them the assistance that they deserve. So that also has my attention. Further to that, I also had a meeting this week with the Inmate Association at Point Blanche. That is also one of my priorities, to remain in touch also and have regular meetings with the Inmate Association, because of course I think it's important for me as minister to also hear from those that are sitting up there, not just from the management of the prison, but also to really speak to the inmates. We had a productive discussion, and I have some homework to do for them to look at what we can offer to the inmates to help them, because again, I can't just tell people that we're getting a new prison. There are people in Point Blanche right now, and they also deserve to have our attention and to be provided with rehabilitation, with something to do with themselves, and also tools to reintegrate themselves back into society, because we don't want them to end up there again. So that was, again, a productive meeting. Besides that, I also wanted to point, but I know that it was in the media and the press already, with respect to extra controls from the police, but also during the regatta. I want to wish everybody a very safe regatta and to have fun, but also please keep to all our traffic rules and all the laws of this country. We are trying to enforce the laws in this country and have less lawlessness here, and I think that that's been evident by the increased controls from KPSM. And I think also they often update on what the results have been of those. So there also has been a traffic deviation on Saturday and Sunday. So I asked that everybody keep up to date with that. So I believe from what I read, it's if you're trying to go into Port-au-Plaisance, you will be required to go around the Causeway roundabout and come back. So there will be no left turns allowed. And this is to help alleviate the traffic.
Laws are made by the legislator or come to the legislator, and the executive branch is supposed to execute and enforce. The problem we have in St. Martin is indeed the enforcement. Not only the enforcement thereof, but also we need to come with heavy monetary sanctions for the violation of these ordinances. It is important that we do so. And also not only that there's the interministerial discussion or committee, but where finance is concerned, the legislative verordening would also need to be amended. So when it comes to sanctions, monetary sanctions, the Ministry of Finance should also be involved in the interministerial committee. And of course, my point is, how far are we in this committee? Ministers change, but civil servants remain. And it is imperative that we get the ball rolling. I am not going to sit here in Parliament and be another one just having to sit here either being quiet or either speaking. I am going to hold government accountable. I'm going to hold myself and this Parliament accountable for us to get things going. We have to be proactive, and we also have to be active enough to bring the change that St. Martin so need in anything that we do.
In speaking with, I had an interview with Dr. Maku Thomas, the director of Turning Point, a couple of weeks ago, and various topics such as drug use and even vaping, an initiative of something that MP Westcott Williams is very passionate about, came up. And, you know, vaping is something that's very much underrated because it comes with its own drawbacks and negatives, but it also has a tail, right? And to find out or to hear that, you know, you have people, children, students, addicted to vaping already from the ages of 8 and 9, and the tail that vaping has, because when you start vaping at such an age, you get, how you would say, I wouldn't say numb, but you become very used to the behavior of smoke, which leads to other types of drug use in the later years, and not even later years, you say in the 30s or 20s, but as of 10, 11 years old, you already have children or students on hard drugs. That's something that is rampant on the island. That is something that doesn't get enough attention, if you were to ask me. And I think, so I would like to thank the initiators of the initiatives thus far, and even the draft initiative that was submitted to Parliament in 2024, August 2024. And I think regardless of who submitted it, it's something, it's a start. And instead of starting from scratch, although it's in English, which the translation would be, I think, the last step, I think it's something that should be picked up and dealt with in post-haste, because the problem that we have today is only the tip of the iceberg, and once we really delve into it, it is something that is slowly sinking a certain part of our demographic on the island. So my full support goes out to this, everything around this topic. And as it pertains to enforcement, after seeing how things went or things are going prior to the plastic ban, as it pertains to enforcement, I don't think we should wait until this is passed, this ordinance is passed, to then work on the preparations for enforcement. I think that is something that should go parallel to what we're doing in here. I know that the President of Parliament has been in talks with the government on finding ways, and I think I read an article lately with a most recent meeting, in finding ways on how to increase the collaboration and cohesion between Parliament and government. And I think that is something that's very imperative where this ordinance or pending ordinance is concerned, because you could have, at the end of the day, the best ordinance, but with zero enforcement, we still have no steps. We are still not making any progress.
Seeing that it was mentioned and also confirmed that there is a working group, it might be an idea indeed to find out where the group is at this moment, because it will be unfortunate if we are both working on the same thing. So if they are working on legislation, it can come back to Parliament so that Parliament can also add their input in the legislation and be co-legislators. And also what I would like to add to that, we have seen, at least when I compare the several laws, you see the age limit of 18 years. But what was very interesting in Aruba, for example, the law was changed, and it was changed to 21 years because of the severe risks and protecting the youth even more based on the World Health regulations. So maybe it's also an idea for us to do the research to see if 18 years is enough to limit it, or should we also raise it to 21 years? So that is based on what was brought forward here today, that you can maybe also look at those aspects and find out where the government is at this moment, so that we don't do double work and we are very effective with our time.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurances.
It's time for a new brand that is as bold, vibrant, and colorful as the island of St. Martin, with colors drawn from our diversity, cultural heritage, and nature. Our breathtaking beaches, waters, and sun, the majestic brown pelican, our national symbol, the radiant yellow sage, our national flower, the historic border monument signifying the Dutch and French sides, our exciting cruise, yachting, and boating ports, renowned Maho Beach and St. Martin Airport, the hub to the Caribbean. All these parts come together to create the shape of the island of St. Martin. More than a logo. It's a new brand that engages, excites, and will inspire travelers to book. It's time to tell the St. Martin story, to reintroduce travelers to St. Martin, to honor our past, to embrace our present, and shape our future. Our culture and diversity, Dutch and French sides, unrivaled cuisine, twice the nightlife, entertainment, and shopping, cruises, boating, and yachting, twice the adventure, exploration, and relaxation, splendid and scenic accommodations, Pinel, Tentamar, and island hopping in the Caribbean. Whatever your taste, St. Martin has more. Experience twice the Caribbean. St. Martin.
you recall, earlier this year, we launched our QR code for complaints. Thus far, we have received approximately 30 unique complaints, the majority being complaints concerning wastewater, road repair, of course, and permits. Though this was intended for the inspection department, we have received feedback from most other departments in VROMI, and even some feedback for other ministries. This is indicative of a gap and a need for improved two-way communication between the public and the ministry. For those who have sent in those concerns, thank you. Next week, we'll be hosting meetings on a way to properly enhance communication and look forward to offering that update within 2 weeks' time. Regarding the Waste Ordinance and Waste Authority, as part of the disbursement conditions towards interventions in the landfill, 4 conditions must be met. I'm happy to announce that in collaboration with the NRPB, we have finally posted the terms of reference to establish to achieve 2 of these disbursement conditions. One is the establishment of a waste authority, and to update the existing waste ordinance for solid waste. This is currently posted to NRPB's website and will be also shared on government's website on the tenders tab, which you can find under procurement. Please read the requirements carefully, as you're expected to split your financial and technical proposals and send them to tenders@nrpbsxm.org before March 17, 2025 at 4 p.m. The new Waste Authority is another step towards better management of our solid waste and is in line with the trip we took to Aruba. Please strictly follow the guidelines in the terms of reference and be sure to make the March 17th deadline. A bit of further information, the 1.4 million euro subsidy that we requested and were granted by the Netherlands will be used to pay these consultants, the legal firm who will draft these, as agreed upon, to work towards better enhancing our waste solutions in solid waste management. On the topic of Westview, the development in Kupukoi, last week I was asked to confirm/clarify statements on the ongoing construction taking place at Jordan Road, number 11 in Kupukoi. On February 9, 2024, a building permit, BP number 203-2022, was published in the National Gazette of March 1, 2024, for a residential development on Maybrief 13, 1968. The permit pertains to Westview, a proposed 18-story development, 3 subterranean levels underground and 15 levels above ground, consisting of a condo, hotel, and commercial spaces. Over the past week, I have requested documentation regarding this file, met with the affected homeowners, and visited the site to reconcile the plan with what is on the ground. I've also reached out to those involved in the development of Westview. I can confirm the following. The entry in the National Gazette only referenced one parcel of land, Maybrief number 13, 1968, for a residential development. The project in its entirety consists of an additional 3 parcels, Maybriefen 123, 1971, 161, 1978, and 34, 1973. The wrong classification of this development as residential and the omission of the 3 other parcels does not reflect the full scope of the project and the nature of the development. The lack of all correct information may have had an impact on the ability of concerned parties to object or query an approved permit, as is their right by law. Up to this morning, new information has come to me, and as such, I'm kindly asking to allow me to keep comments limited on this until I review the case in its entirety. In the meantime, we will review the manner in which permits are published in the National Gazette to ensure that we also comply with our own legal obligations. As it relates itself to the question posed, I believed, by the Daily Herald 2 weeks prior, the same topic of the National Gazette, and information regarding permits that were not published, that were lately published during my tenure, I have the following information as well. November this year, the government of St. Martin, the Permits Department, hired a new technical administrator. This person is the person responsible for issuing and updating, working with EZNV in the publication of the National Gazette's permits. The technical administrator that was previously hired, its contract ended exactly in May. Between May to October, no technical administrator was available, and as such, within the ministry, there was no one who took it upon themselves responsibility to have these published. So to the clarification from the Daily Herald, indeed, between May to October, none of these permits, unfortunately, were published on time. Since the period October till now, all permits are in place. And it speaks very much about the capacity issues within government and as well the need to collaborate and improve government efficiency. So from my side, my apologies to everyone who between the period of May to October would have seen that there was a missing publication. And as we work to improve this, from my side as the minister, I'm taking a much more hands-on approach to ensure that loop is filled. Just a bit of information, once a permit comes to the minister, he signs it, and then the publication becomes an administrative task. But from my side, I will make sure from the political side, I take responsibility to ensure that is handled properly going forward.